The Golden State Valkyries didn't need fists to make a statement. They didn't engage in the same kind of physicality that marked Indiana's intense matchups with Connecticut, but the energy in the building still sizzled. And once again, the talk wasn't just about basketball, it was about the officials. Refereeing in the WNBA has taken center stage yet again, overshadowing even the action on the court. On June 18, frustration with officiating boiled over. It wasn't just Stephanie White or Racket Mezian this time. Now, Golden State Valkyries head coach Natalie Nakase has added her voice to the growing chorus, and she did so after a win, an 88-77 win, no less. But victory wasn't enough to dim her dissatisfaction. Her fire was still lit, her message clear. Nakase didn't yell, she didn't storm the court. But her words carried weight. They came from a place of conviction, from a coach who expects more for her players, and from the league that's supposed to support them. Even with the scoreboard on her side, she couldn't let it slide. She couldn't ignore what she felt was another example of inconsistency, of lack of respect, of the game being shaped not just by talent but by whistles. The Valkyries had executed. They had played smart, moved the ball well, and defended with discipline. But in the background, the rhythm of the game was interrupted. Calls that came late. Calls that didn't come at all. Players glancing at referees, shaking their heads, throwing up their hands in disbelief. Coaches biting their tongues. Or not. With Indiana head coach Stephanie White away for personal reasons, it was assistant coach Austin Kelly's night to lead the Fever. There was hope in the air, hope that a fresh perspective, a new energy, might turn the tide. But that hope didn't last long. It evaporated under the weight of missed shots and turnovers. Caitlin Clark, the spotlight magnet, struggled. She bricked 3 of her 14 shots. She went 0 for 7 from beyond the arc. She turned the ball over 6 times. It was a rough night for Clark, who has already experienced more scrutiny in her rookie season than most veterans do in a decade. The pressure, the attention, the expectations, they're all sky high. But on this night, the shots didn't fall. The rhythm never came. And when that happens, every bounce, every whistle, every pause in the game matters even more. Nakase saw it all unfold. She saw how quickly momentum could shift, how easily frustration could build. And she wasn't afraid to say it. In her post-game remarks, she spoke calmly but firmly. She didn't need to shout. Her words hit like a hammer because they rang true to anyone who's been watching the WNBA this season. Refereeing has been a growing concern in recent weeks. Players have voiced it. Coaches have signaled it. Analysts have dissected it. Fans have fumed about it online. The inconsistency. The missed calls. The game's natural flow being disrupted by questionable decisions, or the lack of them. And now, even in a win, a respected coach like Nakase couldn't bite her tongue. She talked about fairness. About protection. About how physicality can't be allowed to override skill. She pointed out how players are learning to play through hits that should be fouls. How coaches are preparing for refereeing as much as they prepare for the opponent. That's not how it should be. And while the Valkyries celebrated in the locker room, while the fans cheered their performance, there was still an edge in the air. Because when coaches start speaking up after wins, you know something deeper is going on. Winning didn't silence Nakase. It gave her the platform to say what others were feeling. The Fever, meanwhile, will go back to the drawing board. Clark will look at film. She'll see where her shots went wrong. She'll replay those turnovers in her mind. But more than anything, she'll remember the feeling of being out of rhythm, of being off her game, and of looking around wondering why the game didn't feel right. Austin Kelly, stepping in for White, had his hands full. It's never easy stepping in mid-season, let alone for a high-pressure game with a young team and a star player still adjusting to the pro level. He coached hard. He encouraged. He tried to spark something. But it wasn't enough. And this wasn't just another loss. It was another night where bigger questions hovered over the court. The kind of questions that don't get solved with a timeout or a substitution. The kind that require conversations at league meetings, in boardrooms, behind closed doors. Because the WNBA is growing. The talent is undeniable. The excitement is real. But the infrastructure, the officiating, the consistency, the game management, it needs to rise to the same level. Otherwise, nights like this keep happening. Nights where coaches feel compelled to speak out. Nights where stars can't shine because the spotlight is being blocked by a ref's whistle, or lack thereof. For the Valkyries, the win was important. Every win counts in a season this competitive. But even more important was the stance their coach took. Nakase didn't make it about sour grapes. She didn't deflect or excuse. She pointed to a larger issue. One that affects every team, every player, every fan. And for Indiana, the loss was more than just a number in the standings. It was a sign of a team's